involved. Russian Foreign Ministry said the measures will prevent other countries from developing their economies. It added that Moscow will go ahead with the project despite U.S. sanctions. Germany, for its part, accused the U.S. of interfering in its internal affairs. The European Union also slammed Washington's decision, while the group behind Nord Stream 2 said it aims to complete the pipeline as soon as possible. U.S. President Donald Trump endorsed the sanctions on Friday. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline allows Russia to bypass Ukraine and Poland in selling natural gas to Europe via the Baltic Sea. Well, the venture would double Moscow's natural gas exports to Germany. I'd like to welcome our guests to this news review. Christoph Horstel, journalist and founder of Deutsche Mit out of Potsdam, and Marcus Papadopoulos, editor of politics first out of London. Thank you both for staying with us and joining us. Christoph, let's start it off with you. I mean, your take on all of this. Now we see the U.S. Flexing its muscles once again, this time against Germany. Do you think that Washington is going to be effective?
Well, it will be effective, I think, to postpone the completion of the double pipeline carrying 55 billion cubic meters of gas per year. That's really a strong thing, but they will not be able to stop it. This is what U.S. officials secretly admit.
And Marcus, why do you think that the U.S. has made this move at this point in time?
Well, this agenda is very, very US. First of all,
Christoph, stay with me.
Country, and the second point is, of course, that they want to sell their own bloody fracking gas, the gas which they get from the ground through this terrible method of fracking, and sell it as liquid gas to Europe and to Germany. And that is more expensive. And in order to be able to sell it, well, they have to stop the Russians.
Okay, Marcus, this is for you. Now, with the situation taking place, why is it that we see more and more, it appears that the United States is not interested in fair competition, even from their capitalist perspective. More and more, it's taking a unilateral position of pressuring or sanction, whether it's China, whether it's Iran, or whether now it's Germany. I mean, what is the bottom line? What is going on in your perspective dealing with American policy?
Ultimately, this is about America ensuring its global hegemony. The latest move by the US is part of an ongoing and systematic attempt by Washington to asphyxiate the Russian economy, with the Americans knowing that the supply of energy is the main source of revenue for the Russian economy. And why are the Americans attempting to asphyxiate, to collapse the Russian economy? Well, firstly, in order to derail Russia's newly acquired and resurrected status as a superpower, because the Americans know that it was the Russian factor in both Syria and Venezuela that defeated American objectives in both of those countries. And secondly, the Americans are very mindful and very alarmed at how close Germany and Russia have grown to each other, close in terms of political terms, and close in economic terms. Now, whilst Germany is a strategic friend and ally of America, and of course, ever since the end of World War II, West Germany, and then since reunification, the German elite have been pro-American. The Americans nonetheless are concerned about this close relationship between Berlin and Moscow. But the Americans have to be careful, because the more they attempt to damage Russia, they could end up damaging friends and allies of theirs. And of course, Germany is a point in case. And the principle that the Americans are applying to Russia, namely attempting to weaken the economy either directly or indirectly, is something the Americans have been pursuing against Iran, something they have been pursuing against Cuba for many decades now, and something that they have been pursuing against Venezuela. As I said, ultimately, this is because America does not wish to share global power with any other country in the world.
Okay.
Of course, with Russia being back as a superpower, this is sending shockwaves through the corridors of power in Washington.
Well, Christoph, your take on this, because how are the Europeans going to react in general? We have seen, actually, the Europeans in general, if we look at the situation that happened with Iran and that JCPOA, Europeans basically not standing up to the United States. And now, one by one, it seems that they're facing their own challenges with the United States. How likely are we going to see, well, let's start off with Germany. Let's take the case at hand. Actually stand up to the United States because of its own interests?
Yeah, good question. You understand, neither Germany nor Europe are sovereign countries after the Second World War. Especially Germany has not the right to conduct a fully owned foreign policy. And we are not fully independent in this kind of decision, whose gas we buy, at what price. The Americans have a strong word. Merkel has made it very clear. She's against sanctions against the US as a retaliation effort against the sanctions against the Nord Stream pipeline, number one. Number two, she says she wants to go into strong words. That means I will talk to them. Well, with other people like Merkel, one would, lose the hope. Merkel maybe can come to such a point that we will be able to finish the pipeline without too much delay, because that is, of course, the big objective, delay the readiness of the pipeline. So maybe we can do that. But in the long run, there is, of course, something like a little alienation, a little estrangement between the partners. We see that everywhere. We see that in the military field, in the economic field, in the political field in general. But of course, we are not in a position to stand up against the US.
Well, Marcus, last words. Until when? Christoph made the actually comment that the Germans are not in a position to stand up to US. Do you think that we're going to see blowback at some point in time, that the Germans, the proud Germans, will say enough is enough?
Well, I can tell you this. I am a quarter German, and my family is in Bavaria. And ordinary people in Bavaria, and indeed ordinary Germans across Germany, are not particularly favourable when it comes to America. The problem is that the German state, the German elite, are pro-American. The German people are not pro-American. The German people do not approve of America's wars of intervention around the world. German people want to have a good relationship with Russia. They favor close relations with Moscow. But until the time comes when there is real change in Germany from the bottom up, whereby the German state is changed in that it is no longer in the orbit of America, then this will continue indefinitely.
Okay. And
German companies may well be deterred from trading with Russia.
All right, thank you both for being with us. Christoph Horstl, journalist and founder out of Deutsche Mit, out of Potsdam, and Marcus Papadopoulos, editor of Politics First, out of London. And thank you, viewers, for being with us on another news review right here at Press TV.
Crisis. Devastating wars. Diplomacy. Crackdown. Terrorism. On this edition of The Debate.
Kuala Lumpur Islamic Summit. The problem of national security.
So they just slaughtered?
Make sure to join the show through Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and SMS. The Debate. Only on Press TV.
welcome. You're watching the Light on Press TV. Thank you for joining us. We're beginning in Iran, where people are preparing to celebrate Yalda Night, one of the oldest Persian traditions that marks the longest night of the year. People are shopping for nuts and fruits such as watermelons and pomegranates, which are traditionally used on Yalda Night. Iranian families get together on December 21st every year to celebrate this festival, which marks the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. They also read poetry as they keep up until after midnight. Reading verses from the renowned Iranian poet Hafez is another entertaining tradition during the longest night of the year. Getting together is the main part of Yalda Night, and people usually decorate a table, and the most important elements are pomegranates, watermelon, nuts, and sweets. Especially the fundamental factor is for family members to get together in order to establish closeness during the longest night of the year. Iranians have long celebrated the last night of fall as the renewal of the sun and victory of light over darkness, since days get longer and nights get shorter in winter. Families make good wishes, chat and laugh to give a warm welcome to the cold days of winter and bid farewell to fall. Yalda Night is included in Iran's list of national treasures. The event is also celebrated in Afghanistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and parts of Iraq and Turkey. Also, the Iranian capital has hosted a special event featuring Armenian music. Top Armenian musicians put on performances during this event. Yusuf Jalali reports.
A special night of Armenian music in the heart of Tehran, with Iran's national orchestra performing pieces by top Armenian composers. Conducted under the baton of Iranian-Armenian maestro Razmik Ohanian, the concert saw the performance of compositions by Komitas, Aram Khachaturian, Edward Avedizian, and Iranian-Armenian composer Loris Chiknavarian.
I'm so happy to see that Iranian Armenians have the chance to show their musical potentials. Tonight I performed a variety of Armenian orchestral music to acquaint non-Armenian audience with this genre of the Armenian music.
The concert was accompanied by 3 soloists coming from Armenia. Samvel Galistan was amazed by the Iranians' level of interest in Armenian music.
I'm so glad to be part of this music event. Tonight, I figured out that Iranians are very interested in our music.
Loris Chiknavarian's amazing composition called Love Song was also performed during the concert. What made the event special was the presence of the prominent composer among the audience. The maestro believes music is the language of God that is understood by all people and needs no translation. He believes music has long brought Iranians and Armenians together.
Armenians and Persians are like brothers. Ever since Cyrus the Great reformed Iran, Persians were very, very strong in poetry, and Armenians very strong in the music.
Iran is home to some 70,000 Armenians. Most of them are the descendants of expatriates who fled persecution by the Ottoman Empire in 1915. They have close cultural and social interactions with Iranians and regard Iran as their new home. This is a special night for Armenians to showcase the beauty of their music, which appeals not only